All right, it's recording. Exercise 10D, applications, quadratic equations. In order to do this, again, you need to know how to factorize and solve. All they want you to do is to write the equation yourself this time. So here we go. You got a length of a rectangular jigsaw puzzle. So here's my jigsaw puzzle. The length of it is 12 centimeters more than its width. Now, if you didn't know, length is always the longer side of a rectangle. Okay, longer side. So what they're saying is, whatever the width is, so this is the width, that's the shorter side of the rectangle, the length is 12 centimeters more than its width. So whatever width is, then the length will equal to whatever the width is plus an extra 12, because it's 12 centimeters more than the width, right? So now they tell you that the area of the jigsaw is 64 squared centimeters. So they're saying this space here is 640. Thank you. I said the wrong thing. Now, if I asked you, how do you normally find the area of a rectangle again? What do? Length times width. But in our case, we know that the length is W plus 12 because it's an extra 12 centimeters more than the width. And you're multiplying that to the width. So all I'm saying is that's still the length. That's multiplying to the width now. So I've got length times width, and the area is equal to what again? 640. So this area must be 640. You see that? So I'm saying that the area is now 640. The length, which we found out was there, and I just said length times width. So it's W plus 12 times W. And what you get now is what we call an equation. Your job is to rearrange and expand this equation. So here we go. If you're doing times W, remember W times the W, and you also have to remember to times the 12. So let's expand it. What's W times W? W squared, and then 12 times W is positive 12W. You still have 640 on the left-hand side. Remember, to use null factor law, you need it to equal to 0. So ideally, I want to make this equal to 0. How do I get rid of 640 on the left? Yeah, you minus 640 because that's 640, positive 640. So if you minus both sides by 640, what you see is 640 minus 640 cancels out to be 0. And then now you have a quadratic equation. So what you're used to seeing is x. This time they call it w, but it's the same idea. It's x squared plus 12x minus 640. They are monics. This is a monic trinomial. Your job is to factorize. So hopefully you've been practicing exercise 8F or exercise 5F from the year 10 version. Here we go. Monics are easy because we can say this is 1W and this is 1W because W times W will give you W squared there. So that's why monics are easy. Now to figure out the numbers, you just have to figure out factors of 640. Think of two numbers that multiply to give you 640. But if you add or subtract, gives you 12. Give me two numbers. A list. Two numbers that multiply to give you 640, but when you add or subtract, it gives you that 12. So let's brainstorm. I've got what? 64 times 10 is 640. What else? 34 times 2. No, not 34. 32 times 20. Yes, that's true. That's the one. Oh, that is the one. Yeah, very good. So to do that, you're right, you needed a 32 and you need a minus 20. So we've now factorized it. Positive 32 take away 20 will give you that positive 12. And 32 times negative 20 will give you the negative 640. Very good, let's solve. Null factor law. Something times something equals 0. So that means using null factor law, we know W plus 32 could equal to 0. Or W minus 20 could equal to 0. Now, if we solve it, what should W equal to in both cases? Good, minus 32 on both sides because that's a plus 32. They cancel out. So your answer is W could be negative 32 or plus 20 plus 20. And now because this is an application problem, which one is likely the correct answer? Is it negative 32 or is it 20? And why? Very good. Because remember, we're talking about W is the width. How can you have negative 32 centimeters? I can't even find that on a ruler. So logically, out of the two, W has to be 20. Okay, so 20 because can't be negative. So W has to be 20, but if W is 20, then how much is the length? 32 centimeters. Very good. So when they say find the dimensions, length is 32 centimeters and width is 20. So far, so good? Pretty good? Here's my last example for today, just to help you, and you can try the third one yourself. Here's the last one. I'll just zoom out if you need a copy. Good? All right. Here we go. Last example. Eyes and ears towards the board. Here we go. You've got a triangle. Now notice they've given you 3 sides. As soon as you see a right angle triangle, which means 90-degree triangle, and you've got 3 sides, you should only think of one rule. What rule should you be thinking of? Anyone remember? Starts with P. Someone whispered it. Pythagoras. What's Pythagoras' theorem again? Good. C has to be the hypotenuse, so it's 5, so you fill it in. So it should be 5 squared is equal to x squared plus x plus 1 squared. My handwriting's terrible there. Let me write that again. X squared plus x plus 1 squared is equal to 5 squared. This is your C, that's your A, that's your B. So now, your job is to expand and simplify. Shh. Listening? 5 squared is 25. X squared, well, is just x squared. And this is where I was teaching you. How do you expand this quickly again? What's the answer? I taught you a quick way to do it. No. No, not factorize. You want to expand. How do you expand x plus 1 squared quickly again? There was that rule. It's not x squared plus. That's what a lot of students do. You always miss the middle one.
Oh, x squared plus 1 is x. No, plus 2x. AB.
Good. If you've forgotten the rule, I'm going to write it again. A plus b squared is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, if you remember that. Okay, so it was square the first one, square the last one, and then double whatever a times b is. Okay? So x times 1, double that gives you the middle. So if you write it out, it should be square the first one, square the last one, and then x times 1 is x, and then double that, so you get 2x. That's a quick way of expanding. Collect like terms. 2x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 25. Shh. Thanks, team. Eyes and ears towards the board. You ready? All right, same thing again. Once you're up to this step, you want 0. How do I get 0? Minus 25 on both sides. And you get 0. Negative 24. This is 2x squared. Thanks, team. Please don't speak while I'm speaking. Shh. And now's your job to factorize. So you can use the non-mnemonic version, but because this is a year 9 textbook, you can actually factorize this a bit easier. They all have a common factor of 2. So if you took out 2, it makes it a mnemonic problem. So 2 times x squared plus 1x minus 12 is easier to factorize. That equals to 0. So hopefully you can factorize this now. What is it? 2 bracket x squared plus x minus 12. If you're factorizing this, remember you get 2 brackets. Mnemonics are nice. Mnemonic is the number in front of x squared is 1. So that means this is going to be x, and now you all have to think about 2 numbers that multiply to give you 12, and you add or subtract to give you positive 1x. What 2 numbers? Think about 12. What 2 numbers?
3
3 and 4. But then to get a positive x, you make them one. Which one's negative though?
4. 3.
3, because it's positive 4. Take away 3 will give you positive 1. Right? And then negative 3 times 4 gives you negative 12, so it's all good. That's why factorizing was key. Using null factor law now, 2 times something equals 0. One of them has to be 0. So x minus 3 could equal to 0, or x plus 4 could equal to 0. Which one's the correct answer? Has to be positive 3 because x can't be a negative length. You can't draw a triangle with a negative length. So the answer has to be x must be 3. Can't be negative 4 because you can't have a negative length. Doesn't make sense. Okay? I will stop the video there. That's exercise 10D. If you want to have a go with the third one, same idea. It's about writing the equation. I'm going to stop the video.